Hello and welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch. So we just found out what happened to Gus, who was 13 when he died. Apparently some kind of an accident, a storm, or something like that. The stories are not necessarily about exactly how they died, but a little bit about how they lived. The idea here is that this family is very unfortunate. There hasn't been any kind of an explanation offered as to why that might be. I don't know if that's even ever going to be something the game does. I'm actually kind of assuming that it won't. But anyway, let's see here. If I go to this screen here, this will tell us everybody we've explored so far. So we know we've reached everybody up to the current generation. We've gone through everybody up to Edith's siblings, Milton and Lewis. So I guess we will find out one or the other of them next. I'm also assuming that we won't find out anything about any of the spouses here. Well, I mean, we did hear, I guess, Sven. We know what killed him. I don't recall hearing anything about Kay, and I don't know if we're going to find out anything about Sanjay, but I guess we'll find out. So now I got to figure out how to get out of here. I mean, I could go back the way I came, but let me see here. Let me make sure. Okay, so let's see. If I go back this way, my clue will be if there's some dialogue here. Generally speaking, you know you're on the right track if you start seeing dialogue. But I'm not seeing anything like that, so back in Sam's room, so that's the deck. This door's sealed up. Okay, I'm going to go back into this room over here. A ventilation fan. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to see if there's a way out over here. Okay. Well, let me see. Let me see if there's something up here. Usually the way out is pretty, so far the way out has been pretty obvious. But on the other hand, in this particular case, there was this pole to let you back down. College application deadlines. University of... I don't know what that is. Looks like Delhi, though. Bombay? Bangalore? Looks like Dawn was thinking of going to college in India. Which... I guess... Oh, there we go.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
Okay, so we appear to be making our way up the tower here.
I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Okay, so Sanjay died. Dawn moved back. Mint, thyme, sage, basil. Well, it shows that they're dead, but they were outdoors. They actually should have
in the house again.
Survived. Edith, Milton, Lewis, Dawn.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
So we saw some of the books down below
Last.
related to homeschooling. So it looks like this is where they were doing some of the schooling. Our Family History, Fact or Fiction? Edith Lewis Milton. Mrs. Finch. To Teach and to Learn by Dawn Finch. 7 Ways to Create a Fulfilling Classroom. Orcas Island Lutheran Church. Scientific method, observation, question, research, hypothesis, experiment, data, conclusion. Relief efforts end in disaster. Hundreds of relief volunteers are injured or dead after the effects of a second earthquake. Oh, okay. I just realized something. When we were down where, not Lewis, but the guy who was living underground, the uncle, Walter, who had lived underground for 30 years, that vibration was the train going by, not earthquake. Duh. Odin Finch by Edith Finch. Myth, the curse. History, classification of living things. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species, variety. Okay, I think I've explored enough here.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Oh. Are we at the tippy top now? No, I don't think we are. Milton's room sealed off. There's the old house. It looks like I can get in there. So I'll come around here just to make sure I've covered everything. Oh, I guess I gotta go back. Wow, this is quite the hideout. I can totally see why a kid would love this place. I mean, heck, I would love this place. Milton, 1992. Historic American newspapers now available. The Magic Paintbrush. Milton Finch.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Okay, exactly how do I do this? I guess I move the mouse to the right. Okay, I'll let it run this time. A flip book within a flip book, almost. And I guess that's the end of that.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
So I guess that's sort of a metaphor of his disappearance.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
whatever Milton had found in the house. It's the idea that he disappeared somewhere in the house.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Well, since the text is over here, I will go here. This is an actual boat. I do not know if this is where I'm supposed to go. Oh, here we go. So I guess this is Lewis's room?
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Legalize marijuana, which actually has happened in the state of Washington, at least at the state level. Lewis Finch locker contents. Computer. Wow, I mean, can you imagine being a kid, having a room like this? Wow.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Okay. Okay, I can leave here, but I've got a thing to do over here first. Greater Seattle Institute of Psychology, Shap Boulevard. I am not aware that there is a Shap Boulevard in the city of Seattle. Don Finch, Fireweed Road, Orcas Island.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
Wander?
wander.
Oh, okay. So I'm actually doing both of this simultaneously here.
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
I have no idea if this is exactly how this works, but
Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
we'll see what happens if I... Guess the fish keep coming whether you process them or not.
And things that have no names. He knew it was all in his head.
I don't know if I need to worry about keeping up with the fish or not.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis, Tokyo. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play.
Seems like a nice place.
He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Can't believe I've kept up with the fish.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
Oops.
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Dawn.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
I'm assuming this is to allow you
Handsome
to
queen.
choose...
The Queen was on her own quest for...
Oh, let's go this way.
radiant rainbows.
So now I'm choosing.
He followed the sound of her electric sitar.
I'm not hearing an electric sitar. There we go.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination.
It's hard to keep track of everything here.
But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Wonder how many fish would build up if I let them.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh, alas, no more fish. Phew. Well, that was interesting. So now I guess I'm Lewis.
Began to forget the world we know.
Am I still at the cannery? Yeah, sort of.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
There's a lot of fish.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Doesn't look like I can really go anywhere else. So I guess I'm going to come up behind him and, I don't know what, kill him? Oh, no. There's no place for the fish heads to go.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
Going along the conveyor belt.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
The wise calico cat? I see not such a thing.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do.
that is a guillotine.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Okay, and so that is Lewis. And that is a good place to stop this session. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.